Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to Adobe Live, and this is the third video challenge for the month. And today we're going to get a little bit emotional. This is a very special episode. We're going to get into our feels a little bit. We're going to try and figure out how to get the right vibe, fonts, and motion for your projects. We're going to dip a little bit into that. But first, I want to say, let's say hello, chat. Let's do it with a special thing here, hopefully, if it'll work. There we go. Hello, chat. How's it going? This is one of the examples we're going to be working with. But first, I do want to break down and not break down, not that kind of emotional episode. But I do want to break down a little bit how we pick things or how we can pick things. And we're going to do that over in Adobe Fonts. Here we go. So first off, let me just go to the home page so we can kind of check things out. The emotion you want to portray in a project is heavily influenced by your font choices. Motion does have a lot to play with that, and obviously the things you say have a lot to do with that. But just to kind of let you know, the best ways to kind of pick this out, you can use the keyword search for things like happy, sad, that sort of thing. Because we are just going to break this down into two categories, positive emotions and negative emotions. And when I say negative emotions, I don't necessarily mean like horrible, bad, that, you know, like it's a bad thing, but more it's the vibe, like if you're going for a sadness or a fear. And the happy ones, of course, are like, you know, live, laugh, love, you know, that sort of thing. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about our emotions here. But you can search in these tags, which I find to be very useful for this sort of thing. Let's just hit some of the highlights here. Funky and fun are already kind of light. They kind of already give themselves over to that idea of on the light side of emotions. Let's see, wedding could be another kind of love situation. Fun, a comic, of course, would play into that. So some of those you could look through. I would not neglect going through some of the others because you can turn situations on their head a little bit. And in the examples, I'll show you or try to demonstrate some of that. But going to the dark side of things, you could go into rough, which distress fonts lend themselves very, very nicely. Like if I go in here and just type distress, we can just do distress. It'll pop up a bunch of little distressed fonts for you to use. Some of them we're using as an example here. But yeah, some of those categories tags fit really well. Some of the fonts I wanted to use today, or at least highlight, Chaloops is one of them. It's already very light. It's very whimsical. The baselines have an angle on them to kind of give them some motion. So that helps a little bit. Even in the examples they use here, you can kind of see that. Again, what we got? We have a different one here. Let's see, Salvation, Dirt Storm. This was another one. This is more on the darker side of things, like it's kind of distressed. It doesn't have to be. It's just a stencil font that has some texture, but it's about how you use it that will make it, you know, push it towards the emotion you want it to show. There are fonts that can kind of do double duty. And this is one I thought was really good for this. This one's called Salvation. And it is very quirky already. Like it has that kind of tilt back and forth. And even in the examples they use over on Adobe Express, they are being used pretty lightly. It's not like a bad thing. It's, you know, someone's brand, a rock climbing club, you know. So yeah, it can be used that way. Lulo, which is another one that I think is really cool. I had never seen this one before, and it's a stacked font. I'm kind of just showing you because the font is cool. But you can stack these to get, looking at the examples, you can stack these to get some really nice combinations. But on their own, and I typed in harsh here, this can set a vibe that's a little bit darker. Even you just use the shadow. It's kind of fun. Like it could be a more sinister feel to it. But yeah, that's just to let you know these can go either way, because even the like examples are kind of, you know, positive, bright, colorful, mid-range, But on their own, they could definitely be, even maybe in combo. I don't know. You could play with it. But let's get into some motion because, that's the other part of this, right? All right, so we've got our hello chat happening here. Let's go ahead and just start with a new composition. And if you look at the starter file, it is just a composition that is 1920 by 1080, 30 frames a second. There is nothing in it because we're going to make everything from scratch, which is what I like to do on here. I am going to press Control T to get to our type options. And let's see, yeah, we're already on Chaloops. So we're going to do a little bit of a demo of the first one, hello. But I actually want this to be the bold. And there's lots of ways to add animation. Tons of ways to add animation, especially in After Effects. But I wanted to just focus on some really simple things here. In the type itself, you'll see this little animate tag. We're just going to do a simple scale. That's all that we do, all I did in the example. But you can add this tag here, or this animator here, or in your properties, you can go all the way to the bottom and you can add an animator there. If you tap it, it's the same exact thing. It's just two ways to get there. I'm going to add scale. And you might be thinking, Wade, why? We already have a scale under transform. It's slightly different because this one has a range selector, which is what we're going to animate to give it that kind of bloopity, I think that's the official term, so that it kind of goes down the row and scales up. But real simple here, I'm going to hit a little stopwatch. The first thing I did, I unlinked the scale because right now we're scaling together. If I unlink it, I will you have the width and then you have the height. And so I just wanted to make sure I'm only doing the height, or X and Y in this case. But I did hit the stopwatch to add an animation, a little keyframe. I'm going to zoom in real far here because I'm only going to do a handful of frames. And then let's go ahead and add one. I'm going to go back to the first keyframe and zero that out because I don't want to see it when I start. I do want to see it as it comes up. But I also want it to go past. I'm going to have it go up, go past its 100% height, and then come back down to 100. So I'm going to do the second keyframe at around 150, and then move a few more keyframes down, and then make that 100%. Let's see what we have going on in the chat. Just going to check on you guys. Hello from Brazil. What's up? How's it going? Good to see you, Megan. All good in the chat. Okay. Let's see. All right. So here we have our animation. It's super slow. Not quick enough. We want it to stay pretty light, pretty fun. I'm going to just bring these in. And if you hold down Alt, you can scale all of them if you'd like. It's kind of what I did halfway. I am going to add on the last two an easy ease by pressing F9. And then we get a little blip like that. Hello. I maybe want this a little bit further out. Yeah, there we go. Something like that. So it's already kind of fun, kind of light, but now we're going to dip into that range selector. If you go in and toggle that down, you have a start and an end. Well, I'm only going to animate the start. Now, I want it to be at 0 like it is right now, but at the end, I want it to be 100%. And let's see, let's turn on. If you see these two little lines, you can see that the range is starting at the beginning. This first red line right here is moving down the line, and that's exactly what I want it to do, because now it's going to look like you're going down the line of hello. But to exaggerate that a little bit more, I'm going to let's see. I'm going to grab all of them, pull this out, and I'm going to put that range selector starting here so we get that H before everything else, and now you kind of get them going down the line. Hello. And that's the basics of that hello chat. I think it's pretty fun, pretty easy, pretty light. Let's see. I'm going to make a copy of that. We'll just go ahead and do the works on this. I think I changed this to chat, caps, chat. And then all you have to do there is then, well, it takes cap off so you can see it, is stagger out the chat so that it comes second. And you can do that at any timing you enjoy that you want to do. I'd probably move this up a little bit. Again, nothing very specific here. This is just a, hey, here's an idea of something light and whimsical. But you know what else, where else you can find light and whimsical things? It may take some adjusting, but if you're daring enough, in your effects and presets, you can go to text. You can type in text and get to your text presets. And these are, we could do episode upon episode of just going through all the presets, and then still wouldn't have enough time. There's tons of them. Go check them out. So I've picked a few that I think would be cool with this. And in the, let's see, where is this one? The graphical, there's some, nope, that's not what it is. Let's see. Where is that one? Fill and stroke. Sorry, fill and stroke. There's one called Chill Hue Shift. I'm just going to apply it to chat. Well, I don't know who was making this, but I guess they got to the color blue and was like, we're going to just do chill. It doesn't just apply to blue. If you start getting into these, you start needling down into these animators. If we go to Animator 2, which is what added that preset, you'll see that there's just a color chosen that is blue. It doesn't have to be blue. It can be like a reddish fuchsia color. And now we're chilling with that color. But if you don't want that color, there's also a wiggle or randomize fill hue. And if you increase the degrees, it'll get more and more extreme until you get something like that. So now you can have just about any color kind of cycling through, but you didn't do a lot of work. You just found the preset. You saw what worked. You kind of analyzed it a little bit to figure out what was going on. Super simple. A lot of those presets are like that. A lot of those presets, you do have to dig in a little bit to figure out how they work, what they're actually doing. And so now this is just acting like a little cyclorama for color. And we could just copy that and paste it to the hello if we wanted to. But instead of doing that, let's go back to our hello chat example here. Yeah, they added so many. I think they're gonna keep adding more and more presets. So this is a little bit, for me, this is a little bit over the top. Hello chat, it's very game show. It's almost sticky sweet, right? It's almost turning on its head. And I was talking about this a little earlier. What if we did turn this on its head a little bit? If you're doing some messaging, you don't have to always have the friendly things be actually friendly. They could say something else. So I decided to do one and chat, don't laugh at me. Don't do it. It makes me feel bad. But that's the way you could turn this around and have that same kind of sticky sweet be kind of like, what? Confusing maybe, but also, I don't know, I find it hilarious. If you can find those moments, I think they're great. But probably not what you would expect, right? So speaking of not what to expect, let's open another comp and let's keep rolling through. Okay, I got to tap into my rage now, but we're going to try to do this in a friendly fashion. Let's Control T, bring up our type again. This time I'm going to go to Pulpo Rust and type in rage. Just want this to be 75, but then I'm also going to make it all caps. So let's do that real quick. And I'm going to pull the, real quick, just so you'll know this. Control Alt Home will change the center. Let me undo that. You see how the center of this, there we go. Our center point is right here at the bottom. If I hit Control Alt Home, it moves it to the middle. And then if you're so inclined to move everything to the middle of your composition, you can just press Control Home and it will do that as well. Just so you know, since we were talking about it. I do want to move this around, but I think I want to do this with a null object and not just do it from the rage itself. But I also want to go ahead and Control Alt Home and then Control Home that, so that everything is in the center and we don't have to guess at where our center points are. I am going to connect this to the null. And I think I want to move this around. Now I can go straight to my position and I can start, you know, moving this around with this null and animating. But why would we do all that work when we have an expression? If you select your attribute here, position, Shift Alt equal will bring up expressions, and we're going to use a wiggle. Now you've probably seen me do this before. It's super easy to use. The second one is what we want there, and there are two integers, two numbers. The first input is the frequency, and this one in our case is going to be 15. It's how many times this will move. The second integer, 50 pixels. So 15 times it will move within a second, 50 pixel range. So if you press enter on your number pad, it will enter it. If you press enter on your keypad, it's going to go to another line and you're just going to keep writing an expression. So just make sure you're out of that. You can't just click out of it. So now we do have some rage. There's a little bit of rage happening. Maybe not enough. Let's boop this up. Shout out to Howard Pinsky. I'm going to go 70. Let's see how ragey that is. Okay, pretty ragey, but I want to move it around a little bit more. I'm going to scale this up. I'm going to just give us a little bit of a scale here. And let's see what that looks like. That's fine. It rages towards us, but maybe I want to keep that going back and forth. Yeah, that's right. Another expression. Shift Alt equal will get us to our expressions. And then we can start typing loop out. And I do want to add, if you start pressing with typing with the quote, you'll get options. And if you're familiar with Boomerang in Instagram, you'll notice that ping pong will work the same way. I'm going to select ping pong. So now our scale is going to go back and forth. At least that's the plan. Let's see what happens. I just zeroed out. No, Control Z. There we go. Let's see if it works. Yeah, now we're raging all over, right? Add a little bit of motion blur to this. And then we have some rage with some motion blur. Now this is a bit, you know, a bit on the nose. It's like, sure, rage is raging. Why wouldn't it do that? But again, let's think about flipping it around on its head. What if I make a copy of this? And let's move this up slightly. Actually, we can move both of them down just a little bit. And then I want to change this to let's see. Or maybe I am. No. I'm so. That's the one I want. And then let's change this to Angie. So now you're turning it on its head. The text might be raging, but the sentiment has changed a little bit because now I'm so angry and it looks goofy and it's silly, but you're still raging. You're still raging inside. So this might be, you know, for a cat meme or something like that. I don't know, but just think about how you can kind of twist and spin things even with the emotion that you're going for. Let's talk we got a little bit of time, so let's talk about a few more things here. Let's see, let's just start again. Let's just do a new one. New comp. And let's start again with our, let's see, shaloops. I don't know if it's shaloops or chaloops. Does anybody know? Does anybody have a clue? Hello. All right, hello chat. Why not? We can, again, put that to the middle. I'm good with that. Now, if we're trying to keep things light, didn't always have to be applied for something light, but this is a shout out, little fun thing to do to give a little bit of wiggle type without hand animating the wiggle type. If you go and, let's see, turbulent displace this. Let's see if I'll just drag to it. This is a little shout out to Katya Ross, if you guys know Katya. I think she shouted someone else out, but right now, Katya, you're getting the credit for it. I have done this before in a much different way, and this is almost the same exact results. Let's just animate this. I do want to use another expression real quick. I'm going to toggle down. If you just press E, you'll get to the effects, and then I'm going to toggle down to let's see, evolution, and then again Shift Alt equal to add an expression, and I'm going to multiply the time. So I'm going to say time with an asterisk, which means times. So the time of your playback times, and I'm going to go like 5,000. Press enter. And so now it's going to evolve at 5,000 speed, or your playhead times 5,000. So it's really kind of moving along there. I don't know, that's not the effect I'm going for, but all we have to do at this point is reduce the amount and then the size to whatever we feel like is a good wiggly size. Let's see, that might be okay. We could even go up a little bit more. Let's see what that looks like. Not bad. It's kind of really shaky, almost like a Chihuahua type thing. A type thing, not necessarily a dog, I guess. But we can also apply, what was it? Apply posterized time, which this is a good tip in general. If you ever want to slow anything down to make it look like it's stop motion, then you get this posterized time. Right now it's at 24 frames a second, which are, we're close to 24. We're at 29.97. But we want this to be slower than that. So you can put this to 12 frames, and at every 12 frame, it's going to change. So now you kind of get something that looks, and I'm going to try to zoom in here a little bit. You can see this a little better. So now you get something that's almost like, oh, there is a little bit of wobbliness to it. You could go a little bit further with it and make it a little bit cleaner. You could also take the frame rate down so that it's really kind of slow. You could also increase the size if you wanted. So it gets funkier and funkier, but you know, it's just a way to add a little bit of life, you know, to your type. So let's talk about, we have hello chat. Why don't we do hello darkness? I'm going to turn off our turbulent displays. This is a fun little thing, and I do have another example for this. But if you write in simple choker, I think it's simple. Yeah, simple choker. I'm going to add this to our effects here. And I've used this multiple times to kind of give this effect of like wasting away. So see how the font is kind of drifting out of, not out of focus, but it's kind of bleeding. But if you just animate that, and I'm going to put a little keyframe there, and I'll move it down, and then we'll shrink it. I don't know how, this is going to be really fast probably, but typically you want to go kind of slow with it, because I don't know why, but a lot of times except for being angry, I guess, some of the darker, more negative things are kind of slow, something forlorn. A lot of times tracking is a good way to do that. Just to kind of get that emotion across. But I did use this in an example. I have a few examples. So I made this one, and it's using that exact same idea of using that simple choker. I'll pull this. Let's see, there we go. So this one, and I just kind of made a quick 3D background on it. But, you know, just another way to kind of get that emotion across. Well, no, we can't get back. There we go. Did I have another one? No, I think that was it. I think we covered everything I was trying to get to today. I hope this wasn't too emotional for everyone. I wanted to save the tissues for the real issues, not for this episode. But I hope this did kind of give you an idea of how to go and pick a few fonts, keep things light. I guess I should have wrote goodbye chat. Oh, by the way, if you do this, you can. I'll just say bye. Bye chat. Let me turn that off and that one off. There we go. Now it should work because it's all still live type. So thanks everybody for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed this one. Stick around for Val that's coming up next. I know I'm going to. So yeah, I'll see you guys in there, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one. Bye, everybody.